The police service is part of national security as well as the military, the immigration, the others. Now, the security services contribute men to national security for their operations. But the problem arises at the command level. As soon as you send the men and they fall under national security, they claim they are no longer operating under their mother unit. And so therefore, they are not answerable to their mother unit because they are answerable to national security.
But they are supposed to be police officers, are they not?
They are, but their day-to-day discipline is now different, detached, which is a lacuna and which should not be accepted. Look, there was one time, I won't mention it. There was one time somebody who was on secondment to release the national security many years ago told the Inspector General of Police that you are a small boy before me, because he was working with the National Security Coordinator. And that's the operational issue. That is why some of us thought that don't second them there permanently. Let them go on rotational basis. So if they go for an operation for 3 months, you withdraw them and you send in a new batch. But when you send them there, they get into the political class, get influenced by political power, and think that they now operate under a different system. That's the problem. Azugu is a police officer at training, but DSO or Superintendent Azugu is a training officer. But as soon as he put on the national security colors, he's no longer taking the day-to-day instruction from the district commander or regional commander or divisional commander or the IGP. And that's a problem.
But wouldn't that have been solved, ACP, if what a lot of people have been suggesting, including the Michaud Commission, has suggested that actually the standing force at the national security should be disbanded, so that in case there's an operational issue that national security wants to be carried out, it should communicate to the police. There's the BNI, there's the CID, there's several other units that can carry out those. Would that not resolve the command issue, so that everybody that goes on that operation knows they are acting in the name of their mother bodies? Because at this time, ACP Azugu is doing whatever DSP Azugu is doing whatever he is doing, and everybody sees him as a police officer. And people will say that the police are not acting professionally, yet it is not coming from the police themselves. So how do we resolve this? Do we go by the Michaud Commission, disband it, and then perhaps let the professional bodies do what is necessary? If the national security needs something, they go back to them.
Let me go back to the reasons for certain national security, and then we can take it from there. National security should not have a permanent operating force doing internal duties that is supposed to be done by the internal security service. They shouldn't do that. Their duties, among others, include advising the president on policy, gathering intelligence, taking care of our external intelligence and our espionage, counter-terrorism. Now, when they get those things, then they give it down now, you break it down now to the security sectors for them to operate and neutralize them. I don't know whether you're getting me. Now national security has descended from that hierarchy to the operational level. And I think we are competing with the internal security systems. So the Michaud report was right. National security should not have standing, operational men who go on to do crime, to perform investigations at the district levels without regard to the police commanders, without regard, go to immigration, go to the border, I'm told they are at the borders, without recourse to the immigration people. Is that their mandate? But it is a political thing.
You said it is a political thing.
Yes. National security is a political baby. In fact, with the way things happen, I don't think I'll call it national security. It's more or less a partisan security system. It's not national. Because they seem to have deviated from their core duties. And nobody talks. Or nobody can talk. No serving officer, no serving IGP or CBS can talk about it. Even though inwardly or privately they don't enjoy it.
ACP, let me take a quick word from the lawyer that's on the line with us. He's indicated that he has a contribution to make, and then I'll come back to you, because then I have a few operational questions that I would just like to ask you, because of some of the caliber of people that are being said are now operating with national security. I'll come to ACP retire shortly. But lawyer, I realize you say you have a quick point to make.
Yes, I want to contribute towards the functions of the intelligence agencies. One of them, the first one, is to collect, analyze, retain, and disseminate appropriate information and intelligence in respect of activities that constitute threats to the security of the state. And number two is safeguard the economic well-being of the state. Safeguarding the economic well-being of the state includes safeguarding the health and the well-being of the members or the 21 million Ghanaians. Now, the other one is to safeguard and protect the state against threats of espionage, sabotage, terrorism, hijacking, etc., drug trafficking, and protect the state against activities of persons, both national and non-national, intended to overthrow the government of Ghana. Now, so far, all the things that we are talking about, and for all the complaints that we have about the national security agencies, I mean, were they doing any of these things? These are the core functions, the core mandates of the national security agencies. For that matter, the Ministry of National Security. Now, you are to be the one that to safeguard and protect our well-being. And you are rather the one that is helping not to protect our well-being, but rather doing acts to the detriment of our well-being. So in that instance, where are we? Are we going or we are coming? So they should go back to their core functions. And of course, in doing their core functions, they will step on few toes here and there. But it doesn't mean to curtail and behave as if they are brutes. In effect, like the law of the jungle. No. They have a specific act that is guiding their duty. In law, we say that when the law provides for a specific procedure for doing things, it is only that procedure that must be followed. And we must have a general law, which is the Constitution, but we have specific law for them and the way they should behave. So let them go back and start to work within the remit of what the law has given them. If we are able to do that, then we are all good to go.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that intervention. Let me go back. You've just raised an issue that I will just quickly raise with ACP Abass retired. Thank you. ACP, Laura just took us through the various duties of national security, and that seems to be, because I know I have a few friends who actually belong to the CID, and they tell me about the kind of scrutiny that you undergo before you are allowed to move from perhaps the general uniform to the CID. And it looks like national security is even supposed to do a higher form of what the CID officers do. If that is what is expected, what do you make of some of the people we know and are being told are now part of what is supposed to be national security, gathering the highest form of intelligence?
That is what the law says. And if we were doing that, everybody would have been saved in this country. But that's not what we do. Let me give you a gist. When a regime, a government comes to power, you get the point. They come out with a list of their own to the security services, the heads of the security services. Second, these people to national security, VIP, period. And nobody can vary it. Nobody can vary it. When we first started with let me start with the SWAT team. The SWAT. When we started with the SWAT team in 2006, the purpose of the SWAT team was to enhance the police operational capacity at the national, regional, divisional, and district levels, so that they become the more militant wing of the Ghana Police Service to deal with rising social and criminal problems that the ordinary police service cannot handle. That was period. That was the reason why the SWAT was set up. Have we seen any SWAT in any division? We don't have. But they are at national security. The question I ask, doing what? What are they doing? I still stand by my point to say that national security is not supposed to be operating at the levels of the districts, towns, and villages the way they do now. Their core function is to coordinate all the security services. Coordinate. And the word coordinate is there. We know it. It didn't say to operationalize, to investigate. Why? Let me ask you this question. If you go and make an operation at some place and you bring the report to Accra, how is Accra going to investigate that matter? So again, on paper, it is what it is. When it comes to practicalization operations, it is a different thing altogether.
So how do we resolve all these issues? Because the important issue is that we all perhaps, but let me ask you this question. ACP, you've done police recruitment before. If we're to recruit somebody to work for national security, knowing what they are supposed to do, what caliber of people would you be looking out for?
Loyalty to the state, not a party. 2, intelligence. Very highly intelligent people. 3, technologically savvy. 4, of good or excellent exemplary conduct. And of course, being a Ghanaian. This will be my issue, my consideration if I were asked to recruit for national security.
And perhaps it is based on that you are clear in your mind that the group of people you are hearing from are not working for national; they're working for essentially a party unit.
Yes, because they were not selected through using this criterion that I've described. And some of them are even not. Look, some of them are even not properly recognized as security. I don't know where they received their training. There are people now who are operating in the villages as national security operatives who have not received any training from any known security setup that I know of. But they are armed and they are operating. They are operating a parallel security system to the police system, to the immigration system, to the fire system, to the other systems that we have in this country.
Having said that, you said that earlier on, a lot of you in the Ghana Police Service saw what was coming. It is here. It is growing. Where are we heading to? How bad do you think this will get if we don't resolve it?
I have always said this for a number of years that I said, and that until what do you call them? Bureaucrats and professionals reassert their independence from the political class. This country is heading towards something I wouldn't want to say on air. If we cannot, if the professionals cannot reassert their own independence from the political class and allow things to happen the way they are happening now, this country things to come, what we see now is comedies. More worse things will happen.
But then the question now remains, what can be done about it immediately? What can be done about it? Because now, when listening to you, it seems it all comes back to the political authority in power. How do we get something done to ensure that we are not consumed by this fire?
Let's go back to the Constitution and insulate the security services from the stranglehold of the politician. I want in this country, one day, when a policeman can face a minister of state who is committing the crime, or his spouse or relative who is committing the crime, and arrest that person according to law without fear of intimidation. And we can only do that by constitutionally delinking, particularly the Ghana Police Service, from the stranglehold of the politician. I don't believe that the president should appoint the Inspector General of Police. I don't believe that.
But until that aspect of the Constitution is amended, how can the police actually do that? Because the IGP himself, those of you, and I'm sure you know the force better, because I hear stories about people actually positioning themselves politically, actually identifying with political parties, so that they can be identified in case their party comes to power, so that they can be appointed as IGP, among others. In that case, if the Constitution remains the same, how do we take off the hands of the politician?
I'm afraid I want to be pessimistic here. We can't. Because everybody, when you reach the commissioner's level, everybody is angling for the position of the Inspector General of Police. And you angle for... a minister once told me that at your level, you don't get promotions because of hard work. You get promotions because of loyalty to the state. I mean, to the president. We must discard that notion. How we do it, I don't know. Let the experts deal with that. And I'm no longer in the service. Well, until we do that, this is just the beginning of what we will see.
It will get worse.
Pardon?
It will get worse. You see a worsening of the situation, where we'll see because immigration officers have been beaten up. We heard of military being beaten up. As for the police service, they are not even spared at, because you are always in contact with them, or having one or two disagreements with them. That will continue. Yes. But ACP, before I let you go, there's one issue that we just wanted some education on. You were at one time a deputy Eastern Regional Commander, so I guess you understand this better. The Electoral Commission earlier this week said that the issue of security during elections is not within their remits at all. Is that the case?
That is ambivalent. Because even when you put the security man there, when you put the detailed security man there, the presiding, whatever they call him, the returning officer will tell you, until I tell you to do A, B, Z, don't do it. So what happens if the police officer or the officer is there and something is happening and he's not getting clearance from anywhere? What does he do? Number two, the Ghana Police Service, I read the other day that Ghana Police Service is one person to 780 something persons. So the numbers are simply not there to provide enough security at police stations all over the country. If we want, we must go according to the UN requirements of one policeman to at least 500 or 400 citizens. In that case, we can have enough of adequate security at polling stations on polling days.
So, okay, I think that point is very clear. You are very clear on that. But there's also the issue of, because she was saying this, because there's been calls for some accountability in terms of the people who were killed during the elections, among others. Are you also concerned as a retired police officer that some of these things involved many? In fact, the one that happened in Teshiman involved men in uniform that were easily identifiable, at least that they were in uniform. But we haven't seen any form of direct action communication from the police service and the military telling us what they are doing about it. Are you concerned about perhaps the word ambivalence comes in?
It is unfortunate that somebody should die during an election in trying to exercise a democratic right. I do not have the information or the reports regarding the men in uniform, but I can tell you, perhaps, and this is a big guess, and I'm starting to be corrected, I will not be surprised if those men in uniform were coming from other places rather than those deployed by the regional commanders.
Other places rather than those deployed by the regional commanders?
Yes. Ayawagon incident was not occasioned by the men deployed by the Inspector General of Police. Was that the situation?
So that's a possibility that we should be looking at.
That's a possibility you journalists should be investigating. Find out where did the uniform men come from? Who detailed them? What specific duties were they there to perform? Who gave the orders for the shooting? We should be easy for journalists to find these things during investigations, isn't it?